The sleeping giant just woke up, folks, and he ain't happy. In fact, he's absolutely furious. Gather round, pull up a chair. You need to hear this because what I'm about to tell you, well, the folks on the cable news, they're too scared to say it plain. But I'm not. We are watching history flip on its head right before our eyes. You know, for a long time, we thought we held all the cards. We thought the world danced to our tune, but just now the music stopped. And Canada, our nice, polite neighbor to the north, they didn't just leave the dance floor, they set the whole building on fire on their way out. Before I get into the nitty gritty of how your wallet is about to feel this, do me a favor, look down at that subscribe button, give it a click. Why? Because the world is changing fast, and the mainstream folks are selling you fairy tales while your savings are burning. I'm here to give you the truth, raw and uncut. So hit that button, ring the bell, and let's get into the mess. All right, here's the deal. President Trump, he loves a good fight. He loves leverage, the art of the deal, right? He thought he could squeeze Canada until they popped. He slapped those big tariffs on them, 25%, threatened to go even higher. He called them the 51st state. He thought they'd come crawling back, begging for mercy, hat in hand. But something happened that he didn't see coming, something that has the White House in a total panic mode right now. Canada didn't crawl. They didn't beg. Instead, they looked at those sanctions, they looked at the threats, and they said, okay, have it your way. And then they turned around and shook hands with the one guy Trump hates more than anyone, China. You heard me right. While Washington was busy thumping its chest, Ottawa was busy signing the papers. Canada just inked a massive deal to let Chinese electric cars flood their market. And in return, China's buying up Canadian crops that used to be sold to us. Trump is left scrambling. He's looking at the map, and suddenly he's not the one holding the keys anymore. The America First strategy just ran headfirst into a brick wall made of maple syrup and Chinese steel. And the worst part, it's not just an insult. It's an injury, a deep one. Right now, as I speak, American goods, stuff made in our factories, grown on our farms, are piling up. They have nowhere to go. The orders are getting canceled. The phones aren't ringing. And you know what the White House is doing? They are yelling. They are threatening. But the scary part is nobody is listening. It gets worse. The betrayal isn't just coming from across the border. It's coming from inside the house. Stay tuned. Because in a minute, I'm going to tell you who just stabbed the president in the back and why this trade war might be the thing that breaks the whole system. You want to know who stuck the knife in? It wasn't a foreign spy. It wasn't a political rival giving a speech on TV. No, it was the people President Trump thought were his best friends. There's the money men, the CEOs, the big bosses right here in America. See, money is like water. It doesn't care about flags. It doesn't care about speeches or slogans. It just wants to flow where it's safe. And right now, America ain't looking so safe for their cash. While the White House was busy tweeting and making threats, these American companies, the ones making the cars, the ones canning the soup, the ones building the machines, they picked up the phone. They called their factories and they said, stop. They see the writing on the wall. They know that if Canada shuts the door, their profits disappear overnight. So instead of standing behind the president, they are running for the lifeboats. They are cutting deals under the table. They are moving warehouses. They are doing whatever they have to do to survive, even if it makes the president look weak. And that brings me to the slam. You see, Canada is smart. They didn't just throw a tantrum. They aimed a sniper rifle at the American economy. They looked at the map of the United States and they circled the places that voted for Trump. The farms in the Midwest, the steel mills in the Rust Belt, and they said, we aren't buying from you anymore. It is brutal, it is cold, and it is working. I was talking to a buddy of mine down at the rail yard yesterday. Usually that place is deafening. Trains screeching, cranes lifting, horns blaring. You can hear yourself think. Yesterday, silence. He told me, Pop, the containers are just sitting there. Canada won't take them, and we got nobody else to buy them. That is the reality. We have warehouses full of apples rotting. We have lumber that's just sitting in the rain. We have car parts gathering dust. And every day that stuff sits there, it's money burning, it's jobs vanishing. Trump thought he could bully them. He thought he could twist their arm and they say, uncle. But he forgot that Canada buys more from us than almost anyone else. When your best customer decides to shop somewhere else, you don't win, you go broke. And here's the kicker, the part that really hurts. Canada isn't just blocking our stuff. They are replacing us. Remember I told you about China? Well, it's not just cars, it's everything. Canada's stripping away the American label and pasting a Chinese flag over it. They are building a new supply chain that leaves us completely out in the cold. And while our leaders are scrambling, trying to figure out which way is up, there is another storm brewing, a storm that is going to hit your gas tank and your heating bill so hard you won't know what hit you. Because this fight, it isn't just about apples and steel anymore. It's about energy. And what I'm about to tell you next, well, let's just say you might want to fill up your tank while you can. You think gas is expensive now. You just wait. We've been told a lie for years, a sweet little lie that makes us sleep better at night. And they tell us America is energy independent. And they tell us we don't need anybody's oil. We have our own. Well, that is only half true. And a half truth can get you killed, or at least it can empty your bank account. Here is the dirty secret the politicians won't tell you. Yes, we drill a lot of oil, oceans of it, but it's the light stuff, the thin stuff. But our refineries, the big factories that actually make the gasoline for your truck and the heating oil for your house, they were built decades ago. They weren't built for our light oil. They were built to chew on the heavy, thick stuff. And guess where we get almost all of that heavy stuff? You guessed it, Canada. So while Trump is playing poker with tariffs, Canada is sitting there with their hand on the valve. All they have to do is turn that wheel a couple of inches to the right, and the flow stops. If they decide to cut off the oil pipelines, even just for a week, it's not just a headache, it is a catastrophe. Imagine pulling up to the gas station. The sign doesn't say $3. It doesn't say 4. It says 7, maybe 8. Imagine going to a grocery store and the shelves are empty because the trucks can't afford the fuel to deliver the bread and the milk. This is the leverage they have. They heat our homes, they fuel our cars, and Trump knows it. That's why the scrambling in the White House has turned into full-blown panic. I heard whispers that aides are running around with their hair on fire, trying to find someone, anyone, who can replace that. Canadian oil, but who are they going to call? Venezuela. We sanctioned them. Russia, we aren't talking to them. The Saudis, they are laughing all the way to the bank, cutting production just to watch us squirm. We are cornered. The president tried to act tough, tried to act like the boss, but he forgot that a boss needs employees. And right now the employees are going on strike. And you want to know the craziest part? Canada knows they have us by the throat. They aren't rushing. They are calm. They are diverting that oil to the coast, loading it onto ships, and sending it across the ocean to Asia. Once those shipping routes are set, they don't come back. We lose that oil forever. So we have the factories shutting down. We have the gas prices ready to explode. We have the president shouting orders that nobody can follow. But if you think looking north is scary, you better turn your head and look south, because while everyone is watching Canada and the US throwing punches, another player just walked into the ring, and they are holding a grudge that goes back a long, long time. Mexico just entered the chat, and what they just told the White House, it changes everything. You thought the headache stopped at the northern border. Oh no, it just got a whole lot worse. You have to understand, for years, the strategy in Washington was simple: divide and conquer. Treat Canada like one problem and Mexico like a totally different problem. Keep them separate, make them compete for our love. But Mexico's been watching. They saw Canada stand up, look the bully in the eye, and say no, and they took notes. Instead of fighting Canada for scraps, Mexico picked up the phone, and suddenly the two neighbors, the one above us and the one below us, are on the same page. It's what military folks call a pincer movement. We are being squeezed from both sides. Mexico's message to the White House was polite, but the meaning was deadly serious. They basically said, if you mess with Canada, you're messing with the whole North American family, and we aren't going to sit here and wait for our turn to get hit. This is the nightmare scenario for American manufacturing. Think about your car. A Ford or a Chevy isn't just made in one place anymore. A bumper might be made in Mexico, sent to Michigan for assembly, then the engine comes from Canada. They say a single car part crosses the border 7 times before the car is finished. 7 times. It's a delicate dance. And right now the music has stopped and everyone is tripping over each other. If Mexico decides to slow down the trucks just a little bit, the assembly lines in Detroit, in Ohio, in Alabama, they go dead silent. And Trump, he was so proud of his trade deal. Remember the USMCA? He called it the greatest trade deal ever made. He signed it with a big Sharpie. He told us it secured our future. Well, that piece of paper is looking mighty thin right now. The very deal that was supposed to save us is the one that Canada and Mexico are using to strangle us. They are following the rules of the deal exactly, but they are using those rules to lock us out. It's legal, it's brilliant, and it's devastating. So now Trump is fighting a two-front war. He's got the Canadians cutting off the raw materials and the oil from the north. He's got Mexico threatening to choke off the supply chain and the labor from the south. And the president is furious. We are hearing reports of shouting matches in the Oval Office that can be heard down the hall. He feels betrayed. He feels cornered. And when a man like that feels cornered, he lashes out. But this time, he doesn't have a big stick to swing, because while he's looking at the borders, the real ground is crumbling beneath his feet. You see, all this chaos, it makes people nervous. And when the big money guys get nervous, they don't just move factories, they move something much more important. They move the currency, the US dollar, the king dollar, the thing that makes America the boss of the world. What's happening to it right now? Well, folks, hold on to your wallets, because the next part of this story isn't about factories or oil. It's about the cash in your pocket turning into paper dust. Let's talk about the greenback, the almighty dollar. For as long as you and I have been alive, this piece of paper was gold. You could go anywhere in the world, a market in Tokyo, a dusty road in Africa, and if you flashed a Benjamin Franklin, doors opened. Why? Because the world trusted us. They trusted that America was a rock, stable, strong, unshakable. But trust is a fragile thing. It takes a lifetime to build and about 5 minutes to destroy. And right now, that trust is cracking. See, the big investors, the guys in London, in Zurich, in Singapore, they are watching this mess. They see the president fighting with Canada. They see Mexico locking arms against us. They see our factories going quiet and our ships sitting empty. And they are asking a very dangerous question: is America still a safe bet? When the answer to that question becomes maybe not, the money it runs fast. We are already seeing the signs. The dollar is starting to wobble. And you might say, so what? I don't travel to Europe. I don't care about exchange rates. Oh, but you do. You really, really do. Because when the dollar gets weak, everything you buy gets expensive. That cheap t-shirt from Walmart, price goes up. The electronics for your kids' price goes up. Coffee, bananas, medicine, all of it shoots through the roof. It's the invisible tax. Nobody voted for it. Congress didn't pass it, but it steals money out of your paycheck just the same. And here is the part the news isn't covering. Canada and Mexico, they aren't just looking for new sellers, they are looking for new money. There are rumors, scary rumors, that for this new deal with China, Canada isn't going to use US dollars at all. They might trade directly in Chinese currency. If that happens, folks, that is the beginning of the end for the American empire. We've used our dollar as a weapon for decades. We sanction people, we cut them off. We say, do what we say, or you can't use our banks. Well, Canada just called their bluff. They are saying, fine, we don't need your banks. We'll build our own road. If our neighbors stop using our money, then the demand for the dollar crashes. And when demand crashes, the value crashes. So your 401 kilobits, your pension, it might have the same number of dollars in it, but those dollars won't buy you a loaf of bread. Trump is watching the stock market tickers turn red. He's seeing the currency markets jitter, and he knows this is the one thing he can't tweet his way out of. You can't bully the math. So now the walls are closing in, the borders are hostile, the factories are stalling, the dollar is shaking. And you'd think in a time of crisis, his own team would rally around him, right? You'd think the politicians in Washington would stand back to back with the president. Wrong. There is blood in the water. And the sharks circling the president right now aren't Democrats. They aren't liberals. They are his own people. The mutiny has begun, and what the Senate is planning to do next is going to make the trade war look like a playground fight. You think loyalty is forever in Washington. Don't make me laugh. In that town, loyalty lasts exactly as long as the check clears. And right now, the checks are bouncing. The sharks I told you about, they are the senators and congressmen from the president's own party, the ones who stood on stage with him, smiling and clapping, the ones who swore they had his back. Well, guess what? Their phones are ringing off the hook too, but it's not the media calling them. It's the donors, the guys who own the mega farms in the Midwest, the guys who own the car dealerships, the guys who run the oil companies, the people who actually pay for the elections. And they are screaming. They are saying, fix this now or you don't get another dime. Suddenly, all that talk about America first and standing strong has vanished now. It's all about survival. These politicians are looking at the polls and they are terrified. They see the anger in their home states. They see the farmers going bankrupt. They see the factories closing. And they know if they don't do something, they're going to lose their plush jobs. So the mutiny is on. We are hearing reports of secret meetings late at night in the Capitol. No cameras, no reporters, just the heavy hitters of the party sitting in a room. deciding the president's fate. They're drafting bills right now, as I speak, to strip the president of his power to set tariffs. They want to take the keys away from the driver before he drives the car off the cliff. They are preparing to override him, to publicly humiliate him if that's what it takes to save their own skins. It is the ultimate betrayal. Trump is sitting in the Oval Office, and for the first time in a long time, he is truly alone. The Democrats hate him. The world leaders are laughing at him, and now his own generals are plotting to take his sword away. He's raging against the rhinos, Republicans in name only. He's calling them traitors. He's threatening to primary them, but the fear is gone. They aren't scared of his tweets anymore. They are scared of the economic hurricane that is about to make landfall. This is the breaking point. The system is cracking. The president is cornered with his back against the wall, fighting a war on 3 fronts: Canada, Mexico, and now the U.S. Senate. But here's the thing about a cornered fighter. They don't just give up. They don't just wave the white flag. They do something desperate. They do something wild. And that brings us to the end of the line, the final chapter. Because what happens next, it isn't just politics. It isn't just economics. It is the end of the world as we know it. And if you aren't ready for what comes tomorrow, you are going to get left behind in the dust of history. Get ready, part 7 is the knockout punch. We have arrived at the edge of the cliff. I told you Trump was cornered. I told you his own party is sharpening the knives. I told you the neighbors, Canada and Mexico, have locked the doors. And I told you the dollar is shaking. So what is the desperate move? What is the final card the president has up his sleeve? It isn't a deal. It isn't a tweet. It is a declaration. We are hearing whispers, loud whispers, that the president is preparing to declare a national economic emergency. Do you know what that means? It means he stops asking Congress for permission. It means he tries to seize control of the factories. It means he tries to force the companies to produce what he wants when he wants. It is the nuclear option. He wants to use a law from the Cold War to force American businesses to stop trading with Canada and Mexico completely, a total blockade. If he signs that paper, the trade war doesn't just get worse, it becomes a total blackout. Imagine the grocery store with no avocados, no tomatoes, no berries in the winter. Imagine the car repair shop telling you, sorry, we can't get the part. Come back next year. This isn't just about prices going up anymore. It is about things disappearing. The North American family, it's dead. We are now an island. We are alone. And in this new world, it is every nation for itself. Canada has chosen China. Mexico has chosen Canada, and the politicians in Washington have chosen to save their own careers. And where does that leave you? It leaves you right here with me. The mainstream news is going to tell you everything is fine. They're going to tell you it's just a negotiation tactic. Don't believe them. Trust your eyes. Look at the gas pump. Look at the grocery bill. Look at the out-of-stock signs. The storm isn't coming, folks. The storm is here. But you don't have to face it alone. I'm going to be watching every move, every secret meeting, every backroom deal, and I am going to bring it right here to you. So this is your final warning. Get your house in order, save your cash, stock your pantry, and whatever you do, do not look away. I want you to go down to the comments right now. Tell me, do you think Trump should sign that emergency order, or should he back down? I want to hear from you, the real Americans. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it now, because the next video I make, it might just be the most important warning I ever give you. We are in uncharted waters now. Stay safe, stay smart, and keep your eyes open. This is the narrator signing off. Good luck. We're going to need it.